have to lean in.
Gonna lean in.
I should have moved stuff so I could have pushed it back further. Yes, you can see when people start coming in because of the show numbers. I have too many flowers on the table. There we go. Okay, it takes normally a couple minutes for people to come in. It's your first. This is you made a video with me, but this is like your first time ever like joining in. So it's like 9:43. I normally go on around 8:30, and we already have somebody popping in. Say howdy because I'm blind as a bat, so you have to talk to me if I know you're in here. I have the hubby with me today, and he did something today that was very interesting, and we wanted to, they'll bounce back in a minute, we wanted to come on here and talk about where he went today. Hello. Yeah, you're like me, you're blind, you're like, who's in here?
No, I just glare.
So I got Dave in here. I still look like death warmed over, but don't worry about that. Y'all know that I don't care what I look like. But I got the hubby in here today. He actually went to a fur buying.
National Fur Harvest Association.
Okay, that's the spiffy words. So basically, anyone that has a fur buying license can go and buy bulk fur. So in order to buy, what's the limit that you have?
There's no limit on what you can buy. You just got to have there's different categories of your fur buyer's license. I checked into this today. There's like different levels. So level 1 is like you can buy fur and then you can resell fur to other countries or other buyers or whatever. But there's also level 2. That's like for personal use. That would be me buying fur to tan and sell, but I couldn't sell it to anybody else. I have to use it for personal use. But once it's tanned or that, I can sell it that way, but I can't sell it to another country or another.
So in order to be able to do that and to purchase like bulk furs and to be able to really turn over a lot of furs and make a lot of things and sell them to a lot of different places, you have to have a fur buyer's license, which right now he does not. So he just basically went to see what the prices were, what things were going for, and who was buying what and what people were making. And there was a raccoon vest. And how much was it?
$750.
Y'all, I need to make raccoon vests.
I took a lot of pictures, and I did make some videos today. She's gonna add all this on later, but yeah, when you look at a vest, it says $750 on it. I mean, and he had one.
I need an industrial sewing machine.
He had one that was he had a bobcat vest made out of bobcats. He had one made out of red fox. He had one made out of beaver, and he also had one made out of otter. And he had some otter earmuffs, some beaver earmuffs, like a little band, probably about a 4 or 5 inch band that you put around your ears on a cold time or something like that. But anyway, I didn't check the price on those, but when he said $750 for that raccoon vest, well, I had to sit down because I about had a heart attack. And I was afraid to ask anything else after that. But I mean, it was real good looking.
We have pictures, and I'm going to put it in a video for you to see later on tonight.
I just have one picture of I have one picture, real good picture of the raccoon vest, and one real good picture of decent picture of the bobcat vest. But he had some more stuff, and he's 82-year-old, and he'd been buying fur all his life, so he knowed what to. He knowed how to. I guess he knowed how to do it. He had his own person that done all his sewing over in
the muffs. Yes, muffs
South Carolina.
Sell big time. Yes.
And I talked to him a little bit about it, and he had one guy once. He sent it somewhere to get tanned, and when he left the tannery, he went straight to his the garment factory that sewed it for him. and he told me that's where it really got expensive.
So he probably had a couple $100 in this, but he can turn around and sell it for close to $800.
The sewing, buying the fur, getting it tanned, and his garment factory making it for him. He told me he had in a raccoon vest he had $700, and he sold them for $750. Of course,
I don't blame him. I think he has less than that. But because a vest is, if any of you sew, a vest is between 3 to 5 pattern pieces. It's the most simple thing you can sew. Even if you're working with a hard fur, it's the most simple thing you can sew.
that is
Thank you for taking such good care of me.
that is true, but there's a lot of waste in something like that too, because there's just, I mean, you can take a pelt, but there's not much of it that you can use. So
No, it takes several.
he told me by the time he got the pelts ready to sew, he had close to $30 to $40 a piece in them. That's buying them, tanning them, shipping, and all that. So I mean, it all adds up. And of course,
If it could be tanned to a certain thin level, I have an old 1950, 60 sewing machine that could probably sew, and I could line and do a vest. It probably would not be as perfect as his, but it would still be a wearable, functional, very well constructed vest. My mother's a seamstress, so between me and her, we could get it done. I have a dinosaur sewing machine that will probably be okay, but it's my grandmother's that was given to me, so I don't want to ruin it. But I think I could possibly do this. This may be something we explore. We may send off some stuff to be tanned and see how thin it comes back to see if it can be sewn. Possibly.
that's what we're talking about. We're just gonna have to see. We're talking about trying some maybe different stuff this spring and summer. We've got some places to go and set up, so we're gonna maybe do some different, try some different crafts and stuff like that. But you know, these guys that
It's killing me.
these guys that does this buying and stuff, like the guy that had the garment, you know, making the garments, it's his, today was paradise for him, because tons of fur, but it wasn't bringing anything.
No.
And he was buying stuff that a lot of people was going to no sell it, and he would turn around and say, hey, I'll give you this much amount of money for it, take it over and throw it in that pile.
And this person says, I would love to watch you trap and actually learn how. If I can get to feeling better, there are a couple of places where I can actually just ride to the vehicle and stand by the vehicle and video him to where I don't have to meander. I'm completely, on a good day I can do that. I can ride with him and stand there and film. So if I get to feeling better, then I can go with him and I can actually show you how he sets his traps and all the work that goes into making the little fake caster mounds and putting out all the scent and making the fake sign to lure them in and looking for the trails and the crossovers and the avenues that they're using. So if I can get to feeling better and I can, if it's not like a super bumpy, horrible path to where he's trapping and I can ride with him in his little four-wheel drive little tank, then we can start doing some better videos to show you. I think one video that we absolutely need to do is to show you all the different traps he uses, because when he says 330 or he's catching them in a foothold, I think you all need to know what those are so that you understand what's being caught and how it's being caught. So that may be something we actually try to put together in the next couple of days for you, so you can learn a little bit more.
She's on a lot more than I am because I'm so busy with everything. But what I've told her is, if anybody has any questions, ask them and let her write them down, and then I can maybe go live with different traps, snare.
He can show you how to make snares from scratch.
Well, I can, but that'd be really hard to do.
That would be a detailed video.
I would have to set up. I would have to set that up out in the shop and stuff like that.
But if you have questions, put them in the comments when this loads, or go to Hillbilly Furs or DNL Trapping on Facebook and send a message and ask a question. So he's happy to answer any questions that you may have. But we're going to try to get better and more detailed videos so that you understand more of what he's doing. Because right now, he's trying to video but he can't video himself. We don't even have a tripod, so he can only video the animal that's caught and then the after effects. How much different is it than getting a deer after a catch? And everything, if you can get a deer, you can clean anything. It is basically the same process. It's you got to learn. There are certain ways you like some things you tube skin so that all of it's still a tube and all of it's still together, and then there's some stuff that you split and you turn into like a beaver hoop and stuff like that. But if you can do the mechanics of skinning a deer, then basically you can learn how to skin anything that you can catch because they all skin about the same.
And that's one thing. You was asking about gutting a deer. That's one thing that you never have to do during, anything that you trap. There's 3 different ways that I skin stuff. If I'm skinning something for a taxidermist, it's completely different. If I'm skinning stuff, like she said, for there's what they call a tube skin. It's just gonna be tubed. It's just the only hole is gonna be is around its tail, its back legs, and then it's just tubed the rest of the way down. Now there's what they call a K skin. A K skin is where it is like a deer, where you just split it down the belly and start at the foot and go from the foot back in towards the body, and then it looks like
it's like a rug you would put on the ground. If
anybody's going to has ever seen a bear rug or or something like that, that is how it's done. It's called a K skin. And actually, I have some people that's wanting some bobcats done that way. And I've got some bobcats and stuff that I'm going to, actually an otter that I'm going to tan that way. So when I get those done, I've got some coyotes that I'm going to tan that way. You can see what I'm talking about. But
do you have anything left to skin tomorrow?
I've got a coon left to skin.
I may video him skinning the coon, but it'll have like a warning for you all.
Yeah, there's nothing gross. Well, to me, there's.
I don't think there's anything gross about it.
Heck, I can go in my shop, eat me a bologna sandwich, and drink a cold drink, and other people standing there gagging. So I think it's funny.
I told him the day that I think he fell in love with me was the day he had to bring me a cheeseburger when I was helping Matthew skin that big hog, and he had to put a hole in its ribs so I could hold it to keep it from spinning, and I was eating my cheeseburger with my other hand. That was the day I think this man fell in love with me.
I will say that I do clean my hands before I do it. I wear latex gloves with everything because beavers carry some pretty nasty disease. You don't have to get bit. You can catch it.
Yep.
It's
you have to be careful.
But and anything, coons can be rabid.
No, I didn't do it.
Coyotes can be rabid, stuff like that. So
you have to be careful.
You just have to be careful with it.
And that's why you see him when he walks up on a coyote that's in a snare. He will actually kind of play with it for a few minutes to see its behavior. Because if they have rabies or they have neurological issues from rabies, they will do a lot of circle movements. They will do a lot of irrational attack moves. They will shake and spin in circles, and so you can tell if there's something wrong with them. So they're in a snare, and you have to be careful because they could get out of the snare. But he will actually kind of play with them for a minute to see how they behave because you want to see if they have something possibly wrong with them.
But I keep all kinds of stuff in my shop. If I get cut, first thing I do is treat it right then.
Flush, yeah.
Flush it with whatever I can get a hold of, and I usually keep it sitting real close because sooner or later you're going to cut yourself.
Well, and you have to because when you do a lot of this very intense fleshing for the tanning process, you use scalpels. You use scalpel blades.
I use those, and if you get cut with one of those, it's gonna leave a mark.
The only good thing is it's a clean cut.
It'll be a clean cut, but still, you don't know where you've skint with that. You skint with it most of the time, so you're gonna have animal blood and animal,
Now, when I grew up,
stuff like that.
We had a butcher shop and taxidermy shop and hunting lodge, and I never wore a glove in my life. We butchered our hogs and our own cattle, and then we did our deer, and then we did wild hogs, and that was just the way I grew up. You never wore gloves. But now these days, And especially after we had the hunting lodge and we learned the USDA protocol and everything that's transmissible, from that point on, we were pretty adamant about the gloves. I just grew up completely podunk to where my family was just like, go skin that animal. And I was like, okay. But now we use gloves. And that's why everybody that was so scared of the, bug, I was like, have y'all ever researched brucellosis? Because that's scarier than what you're dealing with. But anyway, you have to be careful. But I may do a video of him skinning the coon tomorrow, and we'll have a warning on it because you know how YouTube is.
And I have some beaver traps out tonight, so they may be a possibility that could get a beaver or something like that. But I mean, animals can carry stuff that humans can't catch.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you take something, if they're rabid,
Mm-hmm.
human can catch rabies. I mean, that's just the way it is. But yeah, tick season.
And you have to know what to look for. He's not. We've dealt with tick season because
disease. I've been fighting that for 3 years now, so I know what all that is. And that's like 2 weeks ago. It got warm, and I caught some coyotes. And I caught ticks off of me while I was skinning. I mean, ticks are already out.
So he has to keep antibiotics at all times. If he gets another tick on him, he has to immediately start another course of antibiotics. But your Lyme disease probably came from your younger years in the logwoods.
Well, I don't know about that.
So,
anyway.
because he had it for a while. And you didn't take up tannin and stuff till
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago. So, he got his nose wet and all this because my brother was a taxidermist and I had grown up in all of this. And so when I had days off work, I would go and either flesh hog heads or help him with taxidermy, or I would skin stuff, or I would have to be like cutting the horns off of deer for him to get ready to mount him to the forms. And so he got really interested in all this stuff, and it was just normal for me to do it because it's what I'd grown up doing, and he got really interested in it. Of course, he grew up really backwoods too, but he had never been in the taxidermy fur side of it. So he kind of gravitated toward it. And now he's the one that does it because my hands will not allow me to do it, and I don't have the strength and the capacity. I can help a little bit, but it's very little. So I just try to be crafty these days. One thing he found out today, though, at the first show was about Ukraine and how Ukraine is fixing to affect the fur market.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about. I know that they sell a lot of fur overseas and stuff, but actually, I mean, this last year the fur had started actually coming back up. I mean, I seen coyotes last year. They brought some of them the color. It's all got to do with the color, no matter what. But I seen last year, I mean, dark colored coyotes, I mean, they brought $60-$65. That sounds like a lot of money, but still, I mean, it's not as much money as the time and everything you put into all this, because I have spent times up to 8-10 hours a day, just putting traps out. And when you work an 8-hour job,
Plus, yeah.
And then on your day off you put 10 hours into setting traps, there's a lot of time involved. But going back to what's going on in Ukraine and Russia and China and all this stuff right now, actually one of the biggest fur tanneries overseas is actually in Ukraine. And I didn't know that till the day they was talking about how bad the fur prices was. And we started out this morning, there was like 42, 44 tables. At 12 o'clock, they was 22 being sold, and everybody else had loaded their stuff up and went back home.
Because they weren't getting the prices they needed.
I mean, they no-sold it, and some of them didn't even bring it into auction. But I seen a guy from Alabama load up 100 coyotes, 100 coyotes, because they offered him $3 a piece. $3 at 100. I mean, that sounds like $300. I mean, that sounds like okay, but he probably used half of that gas coming from Alabama to Middle Tennessee. So it's I mean, it was horrible, the fur prices. And I've seen normally bobcats, red and gray foxes. If I'd had my fur buyer's license today, I could have bought bobcats for $7 or $8, $9 a piece.
And if y'all noticed the one time that I leather cased that one and then and leather bound it, I could have turned those. Which how much would they been each if you'd bought them today?
Well, I mean, it would have depended, but I mean, I could have bought some probably $7 or $8, $9 a piece.
And I could have leather backed them out of scrap leather from the Amish place, and just braided them on the side and sold them probably for $60-$70.
But I mean, otters. I seen a guy had caught 2 otters out of his pond, and brought them up there today. What they call green.
Yeah,
I mean, he just skinned them and green. I mean, sold them green. They brought $3 a piece.
And that's really bad. So we don't know with what's going on.
And here's another thing about this too. They was talking about, some people thinks that China may go into Taiwan and do the same thing that Russia is in Ukraine. I have no idea. I'm just speculating. But the guys that's been doing this for 40 and 50, 60 years said, if that happens, the fur market's gone. Because Taiwan and Ukraine and China and Russia plays a huge, huge part in that. Because, I mean, if you start looking at a lot of this fur garments and stuff it's made overseas. Russia, it's made in China, Taiwan, and stuff like that. But I mean, we may not even have a fur sale next year. I mean, who knows?
So we don't know if what's going on overseas is going to flatten the fur trade and make it almost impossible to sell, or if it's going to boost local sales to where you're going to have to rely on your local tanners, your old time tanners, and it's going to either make it better or it's going to kill it. Everybody's making fun about the potato and chief in the comments. Deer season is going to be rough the next couple years because of chronic wasting diseases going back through blue tongue. There's been a lot of sickness now that we've not seen as much in our area, but it is prominent. But there's also the H1N5.
I don't know. You've lost me.
There's the bird variant that's going through that's actually showing up in poultry farms in Kentucky and Tennessee right now. So everybody's locking down their poultry. So there's a lot of stuff going on that's going to affect people that live in the old ways. But we're really hoping that if this is going to knock out the big time tanneries that do a lot of mass tanning, we're hoping that it will make people have to go back to their local tanners that do it the old way and appreciate them a little bit more. These big industrial tanners, they have all these big machines where they can send you something that is just, looks like a perfect little blanket, but an old time tan is a little bit rougher. But it'll last longer. Well, and the good thing is that we still, what we do get ourselves, what he does trap, if I'm able, I can turn it into something kind of artsy-fartsy, and somebody seems to enjoy it and they buy it. So he normally does, when he goes to these like festivals and sales and stuff, he normally does really well. Our son does chainsaw art, so his chainsaw art draws people into the booth, and especially if he's doing a live chainsaw exhibit right there, and then all the kids want to touch the fur, which parents are like, don't, and we're like, no, they can touch the fur. A lot of these kids have never touched a coyote, a bobcat, or anything. And they're all clean, they're washed, they're clean, they're not going to get anything from it. And so then people get drawn in, and they notice how pretty it is, and then people walk away with a coyote pelt or something else, not anticipating to buy one at all. So a lot of it is just re-educating the public about the old ways.
Chicken tattoo, KFC tattoo.
I'm weird because I don't pluck chickens. I grew up with where you let your chickens get huge, and I hang them up and I would skin them because I hate to pluck chickens. My grandma ruined me on plucking chickens, and I will hang a chicken up and skin it. And people think I'm crazy, but that's just the way I do it. I'm doing a lot better today. My muscles have not hurt me near as much today, but I'm got to be very careful this month while we're doing this insurance switch over, because I can't afford to get sick this month because I can't afford the deductibles and premiums that come along with it. So I'm going to be porcelain this month. I'm going to treat myself like I am a little antique, and I'm going to take very good care of myself.
We'll see.
We'll see. You don't think I'll do that? You think I'll get into something?
Probably.
I'm going to be doing some willow branch art. Going to be putting some on Etsy. Going to be doing some stuff that is really simple, but is really pretty, and people don't know how to make it. We teach you something new every video.
Yeah, I don't skin a chicken, so you're out there.
Well, I skin chickens. I don't like to pluck them. I refuse to pluck a chicken. My grandma ruined me. But yeah, so people all the time wonder how we got married, because everybody's like, y'all are so different, but we're not really, because we grew up the same way. Chainsaw. Our son is an arborist, so he climbs trees. He puts those big gaps on his feet, climbs trees, ties in, and takes the problem trees apart that are in bad places and puts them down. There are actually videos of him doing that work down on my channel. And he is learning from the master chainsaw artist in our area, and he's doing an apprenticeship with him right now, and the guy is so amazed at how talented Lane, our son, is. And so he's starting to do his own statues already. He did a Bigfoot the other day. He's doing a lot of welcome signs. They're huge pieces, so there's not anything that you can ship. But if you ever come through the Upper Cumberland region in Tennessee and think you want to purchase one of his chainsaw statues, please contact us and see what he has, because he's just all the time making something. I call him my little redneck savant. You never know what he's going to make. His biggest sellers are his morel mushrooms and his trees, but he's doing a little bit of everything. He did trees with a welcome sign, and he's done a few bear statues, but he's learning how to do the big feathers and the big flying eagles from a master guy. But he's got to still work full time, and he's an arborist. So we're kind of old souls around here. We're kind of weird. Like, people come into my house, and I have more dead things in my house than anything, and I guess people think I'm strange, but I'm comforted by all of the dead things. They all have names.
Back to the sale today, I was going to try to do some videos and stuff like that of what was going on, but it was so crowded and people running backwards and forwards and this and that, so I just took a lot of pictures, and there's some stuff that I did talk about on a couple of videos that I made that she's probably going to post later, but they will be a lot of pictures that I took today of not everything there, but a little bit of everything that come through. I mean, I did get a few pictures of it, so you just can see that when she puts the video up.
He could actually probably carve a Neapolitan Mastiff. Our son's very talented. But as he gets older and stuff, he'll be doing more stuff. Of course, if you want a big something like that, you'd have to come pick it up. There's no way it was shipped. And somebody said they're fixing to have neck surgery. I'm so sorry. I understand what it's like to constantly have your body betray you and constantly need to have stuff done, and you're like, I can't deal with this, because I have a very difficult time dealing with a lot. Like, there was how many days I was not even out of bed.
Probably close to couple weeks.
Yeah, and if it had not been for my best friend Kim, because of his work schedule, I would not have been able to have been taken care of. So health sucks, y'all. It's horrible. Also, our daughter-in-law, my son's wife, she makes homemade lip scrubs, face scrubs, a coffee face scrub that is really wakes you up and brightens your skin and makes you feel better. She does sugar scrubs for your body. She does body butters. She does a whole lot of that stuff, and she sets up these festivals too. But if somebody wanted to see kind of what she does, I can work on doing a video of what she does. And if you wanted to do an order, she does have a website. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's like Southern Charms. We just have, I don't know, we have a talented little old school family. Yes, if you came for carving, you could drop off my donuts. I want those donuts. She cooks donuts almost every night, and I'm like, I'm going to move in with you. I want your donuts.
I'll send you away for a few days.
Yeah, you can send me away for a few days. It's okay. I'll come back well fed with donuts. Oh, goodness. See, I've got to have an MRI on my back, and I'm afraid that my RSD is doing something degenerative, and I'm going to end up having to do something, and I'm not looking forward to it. I don't even want to think about that. Because normally, even when my RSD kicks me, I normally bounce back pretty well. I've not bounced back this time. It's been kind of scary to watch me struggle. Thank you. Yes, though, I got him on here. I got him to talk. I'm going to put the video together here in just a few minutes about his little adventure that I couldn't go with him because I didn't feel like it. But about his little adventure this morning, he traveled about an hour to go to this fur sale. The prices were horrible. The fur traders and the trappers are going to have a rough couple of years, I'm afraid. But I'm really hoping this puts the force back on people to go local again and pay attention to their local tradesmen. So we've had I'm amazed there were this many of you still awake, because I normally come on at like 8:30, so I know you don't expect me this late. But he had a busy day skinning, and I had a late dinner, and we've just had such a weird day. But I've done better today, but we just had a weird day. So if I feel like it and I can sit up and comfortably tomorrow, I will try to help video him skinning the raccoon. But if he gets a beaver, we'll do the beaver, because the beavers are more interesting. They're a little bit more intricate. And we may also do some of the traps, so that when he's talking about his traps and the traps he's setting or the traps that they're caught in, you have a visual of what that trap is. So I know everybody liked the otter video, because I was like, otters do not just want to hold your hand. Otters are assholes. Otters are the meanest, most hateful little stinkers I've ever met. They hiss at you, they growl at you, and if they wanted to take a chunk out of you, they would. I think they're little demons. And so every time I see somebody portray an otter as a cute little fuzzy thing holding hands so it doesn't drift away from its partner, I'm like, they're mean. They're hateful. Beavers are not as mean, are they? Well, some of them can be. They'll flap and flap their tail, but those otters are hateful little creatures. Hateful little creatures. I want you to keep us I want you to keep us up to date on your health. So if I'm live or if I do a community post, I want you to tag in and let me know how you're doing. Because health will suck you down mentally. So check in and let us know how you're doing so that we can keep you going. Because it's difficult. It's very difficult. So, but we've got a lot more to share. He doesn't like getting on here, and he's getting better because I've got him so used to the world and talking about you guys and stuff. He's getting better about it. But he used to be very terrified of going live. So he's getting better at it. And I think that eventually he will probably just start his own channel. So that y'all don't have to sift through content. You can just go watch his trapping stuff, and then y'all know that you're going to get my little soapbox moments or my little crafty moments on, and you don't have to worry about sifting through. Yeah, a lot of people have no idea how to live. Like, a lot of people get really mad at us when they see our way of life, and to us it's like, how do you survive? Because this is just how we survive. This is normal. Like, you're driving down the road, you see a brand new big fat red fox or something on the road and it's not damaged, you're like, well, that's money. You whip out a trash bag, you put it in the vehicle, and you bring it home if it's not messed up. You skin it out, you tan it, that makes you money. Other people are like, how dare you not respect that animal? I think it's much more respectful than letting it lay there and rot. But I also get, and David can vouch for this, I get attached to my little furs, don't I?
Yeah.
I named them. I named them. He does certain things and they turn out really well, and I'm like, no, you can't sell that. I'm attached to that. I have a grouse lamp that I've named Alejandro because he looks saucy, and I'm attached to him. And we sold quite a bit of our taxidermy last year because our house is just too small for everything we had. But all my taxidermy has names, and all of the things that I keep, and the pelts and the furs that I keep, they have names. And people think I'm crazy, but to me, I don't know. For me, it's just respecting the animal. and using every part of it we can. We're going to be making more keychains. We're going to be I saw a lady make earrings out of, what was it?
Beaver teeth, I think.
Beaver teeth, and then there was it was fox bones, toe bones or something, or leg bones or something.
We are maybe going to do some earrings out of some different stuff. That's what we've talked about, and
I want to do those. I want a pair mostly, but I want to make some more.
You never know what somebody's going to wear. So.
No, and if you go on Etsy and you put in the word macabre, it's amazing what people buy. Y'all think I'm weird? Go put macabre in on Etsy. It'll drive you insane.
Yeah, raccoons, they love dog food.
I fed a possum special kitty for 8 months, and how fat do you think that guy was?
I don't know. He was huge.
He was. I barely could hold him up for a photo. We finally had to kill him because he was getting so territorial with the cats, and I was like, dude, I can't afford to feed you anymore.
You know, that's another thing. You're talking about cat or raccoons have been on the porch eating your dog food, eating your cat food. You know, a lot of people think that's cute and funny, but if they come up there sick,
they bring something to your animals.
You've got cats, you've got dogs. You're fixing to have some
They
huge
bring something
vet
to
bills.
your animals. We had a den of fox over the hill, and it was nice to hear them call their pups and watch them, you know. But we also knew it was very bad to have them because they carry a lot of skin disorders, a lot of mange, and that could transmit to our animals. Now, we're lucky right now because we don't have we just have our barn cats, and Oscar stays inside. But at the time, we had our outdoor blue heeler, and so we were really concerned about crossover contamination. The fox around here are horrible for like genetic skin disorders and for the sarcoptic mange. They're horrible. And matter of fact, the coyotes this year, the pelts have been horrible because of mange.
The coyotes around here,
horrible.
Where we've been trapping this winter has been. It started out pretty good, but all around last December, 1st January, when it started getting really, really cold, I guess they started denning up to try to stay warm.
Their bugs.
And the mange really took over.
They all shared the mange, and every one of them had the mange.
Pretty much for a while, everything that we was catching was
trash.
We just left it.
And of course, they needed to be caught. Their numbers need to be reduced, but you hope when you harvest an animal that you can use it. You don't ever want to just waste an animal.
No, it's actually waste, but it's the only way to stop the mange is, kill them out. And, catch them and kill them out and, do away with them.
Mm-hmm.
But the last couple that I got, they was still, they was good. I'm not saying that it's probably not over, but it was probably just lucky that
they were healthier.
They was healthier.
Mm-hmm.
But
that one red one was pretty.
But
if you get a buck during deer season, can you do handles for the knives, or can you make? Are you talking about the feet? You bend the feet up?
No,
you're talking about handles for the knives. We actually have a bladesmith in the area. His name is Lather Hull, and you can go on Facebook and find him. And I recommend if you want a knife made, you go to that man. That man is talented.
He's talking about making handles for deer antlers for.
Normally, what
handles,
we do is we don't make them.
Like
we don't make them, but if people need, like if bladesmiths are making them, we will sell them antlers. So if we shed hunt and find something, we'll sell them. We also, a couple of years ago, gave every beaver tail to a guy to make knife sheaths out of. So we try to give what we can to local tradesmen to make what they need. But now, as our son would probably be able to do that, but we don't make the handles or knives. That's just nothing we have really gotten into. He likes to make keychains and stuff like that, but we just don't like to have to deal with anything super involved like that. So, y'all have had some really good questions. We just wanted to pop on for a minute and just kind of check in. He had an interesting day. I'm going to be editing the video right now as soon as I'm going to do 4 dishes, and then I'm going to edit the video so that you can see what he did today. And then tomorrow, cross your fingers that my back does as well tomorrow as it did today, and I will try to bring you more of a tutorial so that when you watch his trapping videos, you know what he's talking about. because I watched him and I know what he's saying, but then I'm like, y'all don't understand any of that. So I'm going to try to educate you from the basics so that when he starts talking about the different number traps or the different types of traps and stuff like that, you will understand and have a vision of how that animal was harvested and stuff like that. I still get that one little beaver that you caught that was in the footholds, and he was still trying to actively do his job while you were there filming him.
Yeah,
He was like the most industrious little beaver, and he was like, "Just wait before you take me out of the world. Can I finish this one job?" He just kept working, bless his little heart. And I felt kind of endeared toward him, bless his little heart. He was still working right up until the moment he left the world. He was busy working, and I thought, bless your little heart. So, see, they like you, and I brag on him all the time. He doesn't think I do, but I brag on him all the time. And I know we're an odd group of people because we're deep woods bumpkins, but I will tell you that I think the stuff that we do and the way we live our life is going to become very necessary in the next few years. And so you may want to pay attention. So
I might try to get her to. We might try to set up in the shop and where I can.
There's William Mile. He's a sweetie pie.
Where I can get traps down and handle them and have plenty of room and have a wider view of so I can show more and stuff like that. We might try to do that here maybe here next week or so, or maybe sometime this week. Like I said, if you got any kind of questions or anything like that and I'm not on here, just comment and she can write them down and I will go over everything and try to ask the questions the best I can. But I will say, a trapper does not share his secrets.
Some he'll share a lot, but not the best ones. The
big deer hunters that kill these big deer, they don't share their secrets. A trapper does not share his secrets. I mean, that's the only way you're going to learn is you got to start somewhere and you got to try stuff. And that's what I did about 7 years ago. I learned on my own. I didn't have nobody to help me. I just had to guess what to do, hope it worked, and if it did, try it the next time.
Well, you were lucky enough to grow up in an area where you knew the animals and you knew their behavior.
That's true, but still, when it comes to catching something, it's different going out here and sitting in a waiting on a deer to come by.
They're smart.
There's a thing called animal is if it gets educated, it makes it harder to trap.
They're smart.
I've had problems with that, and I've had beavers do stuff that you wouldn't believe if you wasn't there to see and this is actually like I said, this has been 7 years I've been trapping, but this is the first year that I've really done the video of it, and it's that she has put it online and stuff like that we've just started doing. So if I had been videoing this for the last 7 years, I would have had hours and hours and up on hours of video. Yeah. But I like doing it, and I like making videos. 99% of the time, I have to go with myself, and there's times that somebody will go, but not very often. And
it's hard to film.
If they don't know how to film, why it's pretty much useless asking them, because
we also need to
film
upgrade
everything. And I do need to get a better system. I really do that, but. A lot of people, you say film this, and they've got the phone off looking up a tree for
somewhere
a squirrel,
else.
Or a pretty woman goes down the road and they're like trying to get her attention or something like that. So it never works out. When I'm out with myself, I don't have time to worry about blondes or brunettes or anything like that.
We may probably get you. You're not worried about blondes, but he's worried about the furry creatures. Yeah. We may have to get you one of those gorilla tripods where you sit it on the ground and it can watch you from afar while you go and do your work.
May have to get me one of them camera mounts to wear on my head as long as it don't fall off and get in the water.
You can get one for your chest where it won't. You just have to put your beard up.
Yeah. Hey, leave that alone. But anyway, but like I said, A trapper never shares his secrets. I mean, I will tell some stuff, and I will show some stuff, but I don't show it all.
We have
And
multiple trail cams out.
you know,
We don't share a whole lot of
trail
that.
cams and stuff like that. Actually, I have a guy that he, I help him. I furnish him some traps, and I make my snares and make him some snares and stuff like that. And he traps. He'll trap one area, I'll trap one area, but we're actually in together. And he has actually had the trail camera set up that sends the pictures to your cell phone, or they will send a small video to your cell phone.
Well, you have that too.
And mine doesn't have video,
Well, no, but you get
but
pictures.
I get pictures. And he has seen stuff get caught, and he knows he's got stuff caught when he gets up in the morning and checks his phone, and he's got videos of it. And it's interesting to see how animals act. And
You want to see him get mad? You can see him get skunked all deer season, and then the day deer season closes, the day after, there'll be a buck come up and lick the camera.
yeah, that's just part
And then
of it.
you'll hear him absolutely.
I'm not deer hunting a couple years, so but
He got so mad because you had how many bugs hanging around?
I don't know,
You had a few.
but I do like to run a camera where I'm not. You can't run one everywhere you're trapping, but some places I do like to run a camera just see what comes by.
Mm-hmm.
But and nobody will ever know all the secrets they are to trapping. And I mean, the best trappers out there, they had to learn somewhere. They had to start somewhere. And if you ask them something, they're not going to tell you.
They'll tell you a basic
And,
explanation, but you will not learn the secret recipe.
And you before you start trying stuff, whatever state you're in, you need to learn. You need to know what your basic trapping regulations are, because in Kentucky, I mean, I can use stuff in Kentucky that I can't use in Tennessee, and you can use stuff in Tennessee that you cannot use in like, say Kentucky. So I mean, and I don't trap out state, but if I did or was to, I would get with the Fish and Game and see what can I use. And
read your guidebooks front to back several times over.
Every 2 years, Tennessee changes their
everything.
all their trapping regulations and stuff like that. That's coming up again this year, so.
And your fur trapping license is separate than your hunting license.
And but
yeah, it's very much a generational learn thing. But if you like, there's a lot of David's got a lot of young kids. He's got a 14-year-old boy that he's taught to trap. Last year what's that little boy that made fun of me with my safety jams? How old's he?
He's 14 or 15. I've not really had. He's went with me a couple times, but we really not got into it because he's got school and.
He's got some health issues too, but there's another young boy and a father that came out and hang out a lot in the first year.
That's the one I was talking about. But the one he, of course, when young kids go to school and stuff like that, they ain't got but 2 days on the weekend, and it's hard to really get into anything like that.
But he's interested.
But he's interested in it, and him and his dad, they started trapping on their own, and the last couple of years, and they have done to just be father and son. They have done real well. I mean, they've caught some foxes, they've caught some coyotes, they've caught quite a few coons and stuff like that. But it's you've got to learn yourself.
Trial and error.
Be safe about it, because you don't want to catch yourself and have to get somebody to come and get you out, because I've had a couple of close calls here recently, and
but thank goodness he has these big whopping hands. Put your hand up there. He's got these big whopping hands.
But big hands or little hands, a trap has no respect for a person.
Well, I know, but that would fare better than mine in a trap.
Probably the bigger ones that would match worse.
But you didn't have a safety the first year you did this.
I've always had a safety.
That was one of the first things I was like, buy a safety, buy a safety, buy a safety. So
safety is
your trap won't close on you.
Well, there's no safety for foothold traps.
No.
But your body traps, stuff like that. They do make safeties, and I've had them to.
He said you're still passing on the knowledge. Yeah, he's trying. If kids and families want to learn, he welcomes them in the first shed and he tries to tell them as much as he can.
Most time, 12 or 13-year-old, when they walk in and see everything and me skinning stuff, they don't want no part of it. Some does, some don't. But I've had some come and watch, and they don't let on off they want to come back. So I mean that's fine with me.
Takes a certain breed.
You take a young person that wants to hunt, you know, and stuff like that, and I've had people even start trapping and just they say it's more addicting than deer hunting. So I mean, you know, I don't deer hunt much anymore because I'd rather trap. And I see deer all the time when I'm out trapping, and I see them in deer season, and I've seen good mature bucks in trapping season. Me standing there with a trap in my hand, and watch them run off. And so I mean, it's trapping, and it's addicting. And
our son likes to trap too, but our son's more
back
deer
in
hunter.
around the beginning of New Year's, I went to a guy's farm and talked to his sister went with me the whole weekend, and her brother, the one that owned the land, he trapped when he was younger, and he hadn't trapped in about 25 years. But the next weekend, he went to Bass Pro and bought him a bunch of traps. And then he trapped the rest of January and half of February and stuff like that. And she actually got her some traps, and she caught a few coyotes and I think a few foxes and maybe some coons and possums.
She's one of the most independent, strong-willed women I've ever met.
Stuff like that. But I mean, she watched me just for a little that weekend there, and but now, I mean, she says that she's wanting to trap some more this fall. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, trapping's addictive. Getting out here and sitting in a deer stand, watching a deer come by, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I've done it many times. But, I mean, that deer walks by, you've not got a trap out for him to go in. And you've not got a snare out for it to, you know, when you've got a 10-inch loop for a coyote or a fox or a bobcat to go through,
that's some skill.
And it will go through that. I'm not bragging, but I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've not deer hunted in 2 years, but I love to trap, and so I'll probably end up teaching some more people. But even with the people that I've taught, they're still not going to know everything that I do. I mean, you know, sometimes I will use a lure, sometimes I will use a scent, but sometimes I've taught people and I've not used none of that, and sometimes I've taught people and I have used some of that.
And sometimes he cuts the castor mounds out of the beaver's butt and puts them in my pantyhose to dry.
But I've not done that in a long time, so I don't know where she's getting all that
They were my $15 fat girl pantyhose.
Well, I done it for a couple of years, but I changed the way that
and almost caused a domestic.
Well, she didn't leave; she's still here. So anyway, but sometimes I save them, sometimes I don't. But
we found it really well priced with a certain few people, so we tend to buy it from them. And just remember, it's not a candle when you get it. Do not open it in the house. Hubby's got kind of boring. Yeah, well, I can understand that.
I mean, you know, that's what I'm saying. Trapping gets bored too. I have worked my tail off for, you know, all day, 2 or 3 days of putting stuff out. You know, you put out 20, 30 sets. You go back the next morning, you don't have nothing.
Or you have a big mamba jamba that's took your rebar trap and all, and you don't know how big he must have been.
Don't have that problem either, so I don't know where you're getting
No, you've had a couple of traps disappear, and you don't know how big it was that took it off.
I've had one trap and the cable broke, so where she's getting her information, it's not from me.
I just remember you telling me about that.
That's happened one time, so she may have another
trapper.
It
must have been a doozy, though.
She may have another trapper that I don't know about. But anyway, who knows? But anyway, but I mean, you might go 2 more days, you might go 2 or 3 nights, and you might not catch nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It don't look like nothing's moved. You're like, well, I'm gonna move this, I'm gonna move that, and then you want to put out more stuff, and then you might go back the next night, and you might have, a little bit of a variety of everything. You might have, if it depends on what you're trying to catch, you might have and a lot of times, depends on where I'm at and what the landowners want gone. I mean, I might do water sets, I might do maybe a foothold set, maybe snares, maybe a coon, maybe some coon sets or something like that, coon cuff sets. But it just depends on where I'm at and what I'm they're laughing about another trapper now. But I mean, it just depends on where I'm at.
And also the moon and the weather plays a big part in it.
Moon does play a huge part in it. I have never really done real well on a very bright moonlit night. I guess they can see better. I'm not sure how that works, but darker night, or right before a front moves, same way by deer hunting.
What is that?
Another trapper hunting cougar. But I say there's a few cougars around here, so who knows. But anyway, it just depends on, the weather plays a big part in it. That's like last weekend. I set traps Friday, Saturday morning, nothing. Sunday morning, nothing. Sunday night, went Monday morning, had 3 beavers. And went back Monday night, Tuesday night, nothing. So, I mean, I may have got them all and I may not. I mean, the landowner was tickled to death that I got the 3, and they had already took care of some themselves. But that's like yesterday on the way to work, I put out a couple of beaver traps. This morning, didn't have anything. And before I went to the first sale this morning, I put out another. So in the morning, I may have one, I may not. I don't know till I get there.
You'll video that, so.
But if I do have anything, I'll make a short video on it with 3 traps. I mean, might get 1, might get 2, but very doubtful I'll have 100%. But you can't never tell. But the rain coming in, we got some rain coming in. I think maybe later on tonight or tomorrow, and then quite a bit of rain Monday. So I may pull my stuff tomorrow, and I may wait till Monday morning. It just depends on what mood I'm in tomorrow, I guess. But so it's all about, and I've said in these videos before that I've done. It's all about time. It's all about patience. I mean, you can go throw a dozen traps out, and on the first night you might catch something and you might not. But a lot of people, they'll try it for 2 or 3 nights. Well, I ain't gonna catch nothing, and they'll pull everything and they bring it back home. Well, I mean, you might need to leave it out there. And the same way by snares. Luckily, I mean, I have a place here just close to home where I can drive out of the morning, and I've seen catches that I've made from the road. But I had snares out 5 weeks, and out of the 5 weeks I caught 3 coyotes and a bobcat. But the first night I said I caught a coyote, and a couple nights later I caught a bobcat, and it went for about a week, nothing. Then I caught another coyote, and then for 2 weeks, nothing. And I had my camera up, and I got to seeing pictures of a coyote hanging around, and went over there one morning, and I had him caught. So I mean, it's all about time. It's all about patience. If you've got a place and you're wanting to trap, and you can get your sets out, and it's where you can do it, the longer you leave them, the more something's going to have a chance of getting in your trap or in your snare or whatever your.
It's very much a long game.
But I mean, that's where it goes back to the deer hunting side of it. I mean, you go out deer hunting, you might kill something first day, and you might hunt every day for a week before you kill something. I mean, that's just the way it is.
I still think the trapping is better for younger people to learn, like I've told you all, our son did, he killed a hog. He did one of the last legal knife hunts in Tennessee when he was,
7 or 8, somewhere in
yeah,
7. I think
6,
it's 7,
7, right through there.
7 or 8.
He was tiny. I have pictures and need to look him up and show you. But, I wanted, and people thought I was crazy. I bought a little sow from the hunting lodge that needed to be killed because she was just rooting and tearing the fences up, and she was a little turd, so we needed to get her gone. And we did a hunt for her, and he did a knife hunt, and we practiced, and he knew how to do a quick kill. But I wanted him to dispatch up close and personal to know what he was doing to that animal, so that when he was way far away in a tree stand with a gun, with a scope that looked very much like a video game, he was understanding still what he was doing to that animal. And so I'm all about these kids doing trapping, getting up close and personal, seeing what they're doing, so that when they do further trap or they hunt, they have a more humane and ethical approach to it. So our son is pretty much a crack shot. So Ryan's mama's on the internet. So our son is pretty much a crack shot, and he learned that because of being up close for his first kill and understanding what he was doing to that animal and understanding what the animal was going through. And so now he's always been a very ethical hunter. And I think it's great for kids to see this and to understand what they're doing. So both of our kids and my daughter, who looks like a freaking Miss America beauty queen pageant girl, she doesn't care to get right in the first shop and help either. And she's a crack shot too. And when she visited last week, she went and helped him check traps. And she's, only 120 pounds soaking wet, so there's not a whole lot she can do as far as dragging your sled around and stuff like that. But now she doesn't care to get dirty and muddy and get right in there and help. But that's just how we've raised all of our kids. And of course, she's now in veterinary school, so her teachers they love her. But it's great for the kids to learn an up close, hands-on, personal look at that animal and understand what you're doing, because it makes a more ethical and humane hunter and trapper. And they don't feel like they're in a video game, and they're less likely to take a random bad shot and wound an animal and send one out that can't be harvested, can't be eaten, dies somewhere, is useless, and goes through a lot of pain. So for me, I think that's the big thing, is that I think everybody should, if your kids want to hunt, you should kind of look into the trapping aspect as well, so that they get a very up close view of what they're doing. Just to be ethical hunters and ethical woodsmen. So, but well, gosh, it is 10:45, and we're gonna have to scoot because we're old.
Where are you scooting to?
I'm scooting to bed, and I'm edit that video in bed. But we're old, and I'm gonna go lay down. But if I can, I will go out into the first shed tomorrow and help Joanne do some videos for him.
I'll try to do some more stuff throughout the. I'm fixing to start tanning here probably in another 2 to 4 weeks, depends on the weather and stuff like that. You about got to have a consistent temperature to tan, because if it gets too cold and stuff starts freezing, well then it's a waste. Everything's ruined.
If it gets too hot, it's the same way.
Hotter is better than too cold. When it gets too cold, it won't dry. But hot weather, I mean, sometimes it dries just a little bit too fast, but still. I found out some remedies to that makes it work a lot better. But probably throughout the summer, you will see. I'll try to set up. In the shop and do some videos on stuff. I mean, the worst part of the whole thing is fleshing. That's probably to some people, that's probably the most gross part, but
the most tedious part.
Like I was saying, I mean, it's hey, part of the job.
It's tedious.
I've done so much of it that I've been sick doing it, but it's got to be done. So, but anyway.
So he's trapped, and he's skinned and fleshed everything and frozen. And so when the weather gets a break and gets more consistent, then he will start tanning everything. So it's done in chunks with the weather, so that you can do the best job possible.
Yeah, I'll be tanning on quite a bit of, several different things. So it's you never know what I'm going to be working on. I've got quite a bit of different stuff to flesh. And,
thank you, Denise.
So it's never know what's going to happen, but if I stay able and trap next fall.
I don't about kick out again.
Yeah. If I stay able and trap next fall, I'm going to try to get a better video system up.
Yeah.
I may have to hire one of those cougars to go with me to this video.
And do seasonal applications for a woman to help.
I will probably get GPS so she can stand at home and know where I'm at all the time.
I already have one of those. I just haven't loaded it and put it on yet.
Anyway, it's just being funny and part of it. But
I do have a GPS for him because I don't want him to get down somewhere.
But yeah, as the older I get, the clumsier I get, and sometimes I get down. But luckily, and thank goodness that I've always got back home. But it may take 2 cougars to get me out of the woods someday. I don't know. But anyway, so you all have a good night.
Yeah, and I'm going to go and edit this video, and we'll try to put another one out for you all tomorrow as well. So it was nice to have him here. It's nice to feel good enough to be here and say hello.
Get him, yeah, I may have to get me a chip.
Well, I really want to get a personal locator beacon, but what I do have is something that works. It's a little GPS that works in a very small area, very much like one. And I've got it. I've just got to charge it and link it up. But luckily this year he stayed pretty close to home.
I've not been too far from home.
He stayed really close to home this year, so I'm not worried that much.
Enough,
she puts all my stuff up so people, and also I'm doing some new crafts right now, so I'm going to be putting up a coyote face wreath very soon, and I'm going to be putting up
well, we got a couple more.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things that I've got to put together now that I'm feeling better.
We've got a couple more pelts we're going to put
Yeah,
on
I've got
too,
more pelts. I've got a list. We have sold a couple of things, and we've gotten really good reviews on what we sold. People have enjoyed it. So I'm going to load a few more things now that I'm feeling better to the Etsy store. And we're going to also make a few more keychains, because, and the jawbone keychains most likely, because people really like those. So we're going to go through our bone pile and see what's left, and we clean it, bullet, peroxide it, and all that good stuff. Bleach it, so we'll see what's left, and I may put together some smaller items, so if you just want to buy a smaller item. And then I'm learning to crochet, and I'm going to make possum plastic bag holders that hang from your refrigerator that look like a dead possum. I'm going to make one. I just want to make one. It's going to happen. But I've also found a pattern for little cat butt coaster, so it looks like a little cat walking away from you in a little butthole. It's a little coaster. It's a little crocheted coaster that you Mod Podge to stiffen. It's so cute. So I'm learning the tension in my hands. My motor skills are getting better, so I'm going to keep crocheting, and as I do some of them and get better at the patterns, I'm going to post some stuff for sale. But until then, my leather items and my fur items are going to be what I'm going to sell. And I'm also going to be doing probably some lit limb lights. So if you've seen the limbs that anchor to the walls that are wrapped with lights and then covered where it looks like a limb with just lights all around it, I'm going to be doing a couple of those for wall mounted plug-ins. So they will not be huge for the shipping. They will be smaller, but they will be great for corners, little accent lights or stuff. I'm going to be doing a couple of those. So y'all pray that my back holds out, because I have stuff I want to do. I just need my health to hang on. So I'm going to let Big Man get to bed, and I'm going to edit that video, and then we will see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining in. Denise, thank you so much for catching and throwing up all my links. I appreciate you so much. And yeah, we'll try to get something posted tonight, and then I'll get another one posted tomorrow afternoon so that you have stuff to look forward to. And as long as my health continues to perk up, I'll be doing stuff through the week. So I'm going to bed. I appreciate you. Y'all have a good night, and thank you for spending your time with us. We'll see you later. Say bye.
See you.
Bye, guys.